what we are going to do in today's lecture. As I have promised you that I will teach you regarding the data types. So before data type, what we are going to do? We are going to understand how this public static void main, that is the entry point of your program, works. So for that, we will need one notepad and the command prompt. Actually, one program I have already kept ready, but first we will type it. I'm going to type it. You will be able to see it. Then I will explain you in detail, step by step, what each and every line means. So I am starting with it. I'm keeping the name same. It's example 2 because the notes which I'm going to share, in that notes it is the same name, so I'm keeping it same. Public static void main, string args, opening closing square bracket. Then we are going to take one variable, it's int num. And what is this? This is the declaration part. It declares variable. What it does, it declares a variable, and the variable name is num. Then next is num is equal to 100. What this num is equal to 100 is trying to do, this assigns value to a variable, that is 100 value will be assigned to a variable num. Here the first part, that is int num is equal to int num semicolon, is also called as variable declaration. This num is equal to 100 is called as variable definition or variable assignment. Now the next is system.out.println, and simply in this code what we are going to do, we are going to print the value of this num. So this is num, and then we are going to print its value, that is num. After printing it, simply the first line in your output will be this is num and then 100. If you want to write down here equal to, you can. Now, so first line in your output will be this is num equal to 100. Then next is you can perform all the arithmetic operations, normal arithmetic operation on this num, that I am going to show you. In your example, it is directly written as into 2. So let me go step by step. So I will show you. If you're going to add 10 to it, because this is the first, as you all of have seen that in Google Classroom I have shared one assignment for you, and it is a 20 marks assignment. Two programs you are supposed to do. These two programs I am explaining in the lecture how to do it, but you're going to perform on your own. You're going to write it down in a notebook. So either way, those who have the softwares already installed, then they can directly use, or otherwise on your notebook write down the code, go thoroughly, write down the output, take its photo and simply copy paste it in your assignment. That also I will explain, but later on I will explain, but it is very simple. So here I have performed the addition. So simply it's like, you can write it like addition. And how to display the addition, after addition what will be the num's value. So previously the num is 100, we have added 10 to it. Now the num value will be 110. Then next is same for your subtraction, division and multiplication. Now we'll see it. First we have added 10 to it. Now we will subtract 20 from it, and here we will make the change. Instead of addition we will write it subtraction. Then next we will do multiplication. So after minus 20, first previous value of num is 100, we have added 10 to it, so it is 110. Then minus 20, it will be 90, and now we are multiplying 10 to it, so it will be 900. Here we are going to display multiplication. So today you have seen how to use arithmetic operators in Java. You are right now seeing it. Now the next is slash 90 I'm going to do. So it's a division. So 900 slash 90, it's going to retrieve you the value 10, division. And here if you want to make the change, you can write like after addition and then num is equal to everywhere, after subtraction, after multiplication, and after division. So that's it. This is for your code. Now I'm going to save this code. As you all can see, the class name is example2, so we must save it with the same name, that is example2.java. If you want to change, you can make here all files, but it's okay if you're not going to do it. Save it inside Java JDK bin, save it, go to the command prompt. I have already opened the command prompt, so that's why you will be able to see it. I have run it as an administrator. Now I am running the code, so it is javac example2.java. Let me check, is it going to throw any error? So no error, it is working correctly. Now I will try to run it. So here, this is num. The value of num is 100. After addition, after adding 10 to it, the num value is 110. Subtraction, minus 20. So 110 minus 20 is 90. After multiplying it with the 10, so 90 into 10, that is 900. And in division, we are going to divide it by 90. So it is 900 divided by 90. So 900 slash 90, the answer is 10. So simple syntax, how to use the arithmetic operators, addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. Now we will go thoroughly in this code. So the class name is example2. Whenever we want to define any class, then but obviously you are going to need public static void main in order to have some entry point to this program. Even if you have 2-3 classes, it's okay, but at least one class, at least at the most one class, because in the program or in Java file you can have only one main method. You can't have 2-3 main methods. Okay, only one main method allowed, because only single point of entry is allowed. Public means what? In today's lecture I'm going to introduce all these concepts, and in next lecture onwards you will get into it. So what is mean by public? Public means accessible to all. So when we say accessible to all, suppose in this Java file we have written 3-4 classes. These 3-4 classes can have their own variables, can have their own methods. The method like main we have written here, it's an inbuilt method. We have defined it in a example 2. Similarly, we can have here display method, accept method, addition as a separate method. We can do it. So if suppose one method want to have a communication with the other method, want to access its variable, we need it to be public. It is accessible to all. So public means that it is available to all different classes. Static means only single instance of this method will be created. You can't and it will be shared among all the different classes. So static means fixed. It is only one single instance. Void means this main method is not going to return any value. Neither integer, nor float, not double, nor char, nor string. Nothing it's going to return. So return absent. Then next is what is the name of this method. The name of this method is main. Then in bracket what we have passed is called as command line argument. This is the command line. It's called as command prompt, and the Java example2 is called as command line. If we are going to pass any argument from here, argument in the sense integer, any variable, value, integer, float, double, char, string, you can pass it on this command prompt, and the arguments or the parameters which you pass from the command line are called as command line arguments. So while running the Java code itself, you can pass all the values from here. We will see it in some examples, and that can be catched here. that is string args. So this args of 0 is nothing but the whatever value, suppose 10 value, space 20 value, 30 value. So it will be like args of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like this, it's going to accept it. So this public static void main string args is called as the prototype or the signature of your main method. So what in your exam the question can be asked for 5 marks that write a short note on main method prototype or signature of main method. So you are going to explain everything in detail, what is public, what is static, what is void, and what is main. You can take one example and you can explain in detail the variable declaration and the definition part, and how main is the entry point of it. Now if you are not have if you are thinking that we are not able to write down the whole 5 mark short note, so I am going to share a word doc with you with this example and its explanation. But in that example you will find only multiplication because I have restricted the scope to that multiplication. But in your assignment I have written that perform addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. That's why I have shown you like this. Now now I will show you that concept. Okay, here now in the code, after multiplication, so in that statement I am writing backslash n. Backslash n is for new line character. I am also writing backslash t for a tab space. And first let me show you this output, how it looks like, and then we will see what is backslash r is trying to do. So see here the first 3 lines in sequence, but here double backslash n. So one line blank, the second line blank, and on the third line I have written backslash t for tab, and then the output will be displayed. The next line is as it is after division, num is equal to 10. Now if suppose in this statement, last statement, after division I am writing it like backslash r. Now observe the change carefully, what it is doing. It's not doing it. Okay. Because I have written println. What change I should do is, instead of println, I should be on the same line. So now see the change. Then also it is not showing you because here also it is println. Now let me show you the concept of R here. So after printing it, then backslash R. Hope so you are able to see what I did right now. If you are not able to see, I will show you once again. Let me make this blank and I'm going to run it once again. Observe the change. If you are getting a delay in the output, please let me know that what I am talking and what is displayed to you is with a delay or lag, so that I can go slow. So are you all able to see the command prompt?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
ma'am.
Okay. Now see here. So here backslash n. So after 2 backslash n, almost 3 backslash n, because this println is also a backslash n. Then here we have written backslash t after multiplication, and just like how your typewriter is used to work, it's called carriage return. Means the typewriter, they used to do like they are used to press one knob which is going to take the next line, so it is going to work like cut. So that is nothing but the backslash n, and then they are going to move it from top to down, first cut, and then the second time they are going to move it from right to left. Okay, you used to get some noise over there, so it was like tuck 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 tuck. So it will be on the first line, first you can say column. So here also the backslash r is called as carriage return. it's going to take the control of your command prompt to the first column in the line. So that's why here itself we have written that backslash and backslash t, and then after that backslash r will take the control to the starting of that line, and it's going to print hi. As there were blank spaces because of the tab, so that's why you are able to see this hi. But if I'm going to continue this statement, it's going to overwrite your after multiplication statement. So if you're going to write like hi, welcome to Java, it's going to overwrite everything. So this was regarding escape sequence character. Backslash n, backslash t, backslash r, backslash b is also there. It's bip. So you try all those things. Okay. I'm going to share I'm going to share two things. The first thing is the Java notes itself. It's the whole set of Java codes which I have tried, and some short notes I have prepared. So if anyone is interested, you have two choices. The books, the Java Complete Reference book of Herbert Schultz, I have already shared it on your Google Classroom under the books category. And then the second I am going to share in that books category itself is the Java notes. So go thoroughly and go fast, because it's only going to cover your unit 1. Your Java syllabus is very vast. So that's why go through it, and daily whatever I'm going to teach you, I'm going to make one word file of it, and then I'm going to share it lecture wise in your Google Classroom. So this was regarding the first assignment given to you. Both the assignment covers this concept, because in system.out.println you can write down your first name, and if you want to display your name by taking a variable, you can take it like a string. So suppose here I want to take one string. So always if you want to take extra variables, it is good to take it in the start. So suppose fn for first name and ln for the last name, and here we are going to assign a value to it. So suppose fn. Now I'm going to write down my name. You can write your own name, Arthi, and ln. As this is my name, I writing my own name, you write your own name, and you are supposed to display it. Now if you want to display it on a new line, you can concatenate backslash n here itself. So it will be like fn first name. I'm concatenating it and I'm trying to display on the new line last name, ln. Now I'll see the output. Can anybody mute themselves and tell me what error I have made? It was shown on the command prompt. Yeah, someone said something, but I am not able to hear it.
Yeah, we said that for this year,
ln
edit में
Edit में,
ln semicolon is
edit
missing.
yeah, semicolon is missing. So where should I put the semicolon? Where I am missing it?
after Pardesi.
LN.
Pardesi.
Okay,
LN.
ln. At the line number ln, we must to write down the semicolon. That's why it says it is expected. Now the next one. So see here, after division, as I have written it print, so that's why it is concatenating that first name there itself, because here observe this system.out.print, it is print, and nowhere backslash n was there. So after printing num, that is division 10 value, it's there itself writing the first name as Arti, and then we have written backslash n, so last name as Pardeshi. So that's it for the two codes. You are supposed to write down with the two different names, save the program, write it in a notebook, and then write down what is the output which you are going to get, and then take its photo and then paste it in your assignment. Or otherwise, if you're going to write down in a notebook, means notepad, and on the command prompt, take a screenshot and then copy paste it in that Word doc and turn it turn in. Simply you are going to turn in that assignment, and then it will be submitted to you. Once I will assign you the marks, you are able to see what marks you got. I have assigned the rubric to it, means to the main method properly written how many marks. It belongs to both the programs, so that's why you will be able to see like 4 4 2 3, but divide it in half for each program. So variable declaration, syntax error if you're going to make, then what will happen. So till this point now it is clear. Now we will move ahead, and then let me show you the second program. As I have promised you that I'm going to explain the data type concept, and why that 2 raised to thing is required. What is the use of that 2 raised to thing? So let me go and tell you something regarding the data types. Okay. So we will go ahead and we will learn the concept of data type. The primitive data types are 4: integers, floating point, characters, and boolean. So all the short data types under these categories will be bifurcated. Means under integers, under integer group, you will find byte, short, int, and long. So I repeat it once again. Under integer category of primitive data type, you will find byte, short, int, and long. Under floating point primitive data type, you will find float and double. Now I will explain you the exact difference between float and double. We'll see it. Float is a single precision value and double is a double precision value. What that means I will explain. Then chars means characters. Characters is going to have the char under it. As you can see, there is no string, as capital string is not there under the primitive type characters. Why? Because string is a separate class and you will understand it's a collection. But in unit 3, you will understand it more. So right now, capital S string is not a class for, or it's not, it's not a data type, it's a class. So last one is boolean, and under that only one thing is there, one small data type, it's called boolean. So under integers category, 4 data types: byte, short, int, and long. Under floating point, 2, float and double. Under characters, only one data type, that is char. And under boolean, there is only one data type with the b small boolean. Now we will see exactly what it means. So first let me tell you integers. Here we have mentioned the name of the data type. What is its width? When you say 2 bytes, 3 bytes, here it has been converted to bits. So byte is 1 byte. 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. So the second column here, if it is possible, let me ignore this once so that you will not be able to see this green color line, sorry, blue color line. So here the first column represent the data type name, the second column represent the bits. So for long, 64 bits are assigned, int 32 bits are assigned, short 16 bits are assigned, and byte 8 bits are assigned. Now unmute yourself and then I'm going to ask you the bytes of it. For example, byte 8 bits means 1 byte. So short will be of how many bytes?
2.
Very 2. It will be 2 because 16. 8 means 1 byte. So 16 means 2 bytes. Then 32 will be 4. And long will be 8. 8. Very good. Very good. Very good. So it is like 1 byte, 2 byte, 4 byte, and 8 byte. Here, whatever values you are able to see on the right hand side are nothing but the ranges, the actual value which you can take for these variables. Okay. For timing, please mute yourself. So on the right hand side, you will be able to see the ranges of it. Means what? Here the byte can take minimum value of -128 and a maximum value of 127. Short can take the maximum minimum value of minus 32768 and positive value will be 32767. You can observe one trend that in positive value, though we say that the ranges will be half divided 0, then on the left hand side negative values, on the right hand side positive values. So 0 is considered under positive value. That's why in positive you will find one less digit. As in negative you can see minus 32768. To the positive it is not 32768, it is 32767 because 0 plus these many values and totally it will be then 32,768. So equal on positive and negative side. Now we will see one example regarding integer, and then for rest you can apply the same case. Int is 32 bits, means 4 bytes. Then here why the value is minus, now I am not able to say it in crores or something, so I will pronounce it like minus 2 147 483 648, and to the positive it will be 1 minus. We will see how it works. I will show you the illustration of it. Okay, so see here, when you have a number line, this indicates how many values an integer can take. See here, down, actually I want to write it like 2 raised to 31, but I have written it in a paint and there is no rest to do it, so that's why I have written this caret symbol to indicate 2 raised to 31 and 2 raised to 32. As you have already written till 2 raised to 16, now this is 2 raised to 32. What is the 2 raised to 32 value? It is 4 294 967 296. If you divide it in a half, it's nothing but 2 raised to 31. As we say that these are the total possible values which a integer can take, because 32 bits are assigned to an integer. So 2 raised to 32 values an integer can take. So total this 4 and the whole value will are possible sets. If you're going to say that I want to have some negative value and some positive value, we are going to divide it in half. So how to get its half? If you're going to move up, then 2 raised to 31 is half value of it. So it is 2 147 483 648. So if you are going to draw it on a number line, 0 is in the middle. On the left hand side, you can have the possible values of integer as minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, till what? Till minus 2 147 483 648. As soon as to the negative side, if you're going to write down int I is equal to minus 214 483 649, you are going to get a syntax error. Similarly, on the positive side, what values an integer can take? So int I is equal to 0 allowed, 1 allowed, 2 allowed, 3 allowed, till what it is allowed? Till this positive value, that is 2 147 483 647. As soon as you will write int I is equal to 2 147 483 648, you are going to get a syntax error. So this is why you should learn that 2 raised to values. And in order to understand exactly how is memory being managed in the background. So when you say that int is of 4 bytes, the possible range values for any unassigned integer is to the negative side this much max value it can take, and to the positive side this much max value it can take. Now we will see it example wise. Now I'm not going to type that whole code because otherwise we won't be able to complete this thing. See here, the class demo dt. Dt stands for data type. Public static void main string args int I is equal to minus. Now let me show you that value, what negative value it can take. Minus 2 147 483 648 is the max possible negative value which you can assign to any integer. But in the code, what we are trying to do, in the code, let me take a pause so that if there is a lag, you will be on this prompt. Okay, So here what we are trying to do, int I is equal to minus 2, 147, 483, 6, 4 and 9. Max negative value, here last digit was 8, but I am changing it. I am making it 9. Now we will try to run the code and we will see what happens if we are going to cross the range. Then what happens? So demo dt dot java. Say here it's throwing you a syntax error. What is that syntax error? Integer number too large. You're trying to cross the limit which is assigned to you by Java, that is 4 bytes. It can hold only 4 bytes of memory, so the max integer it can occupy is minus 2, 147, 483, 648, and you are trying to save 9 into it. That's why it is throwing an error. Now, let me cross verify. If we are going to do the same thing on the positive side, what will happen? So, to the positive side, the max positive plus value allowed is, let me show you first the correct value and then we will change it with the larger value, which is not possible to have it in an integer. So, it's like int I is equal to 2, 147, 483, 647. It is possible to have that value. It's perfectly in the range. So, we will try to run it. See here, no error. We will compile it also. So we are able to compile it. Now I'm trying to run it and output is displayed. No error. Integer properly displayed. But as soon as I'm going to cross this positive side, instead of 7, I'm now going to make it 8. And then I'm going to run it. Once again, it says that integer number too large. It's 2, 147, 483 and 648. So you are crossing the limits of 4 bytes assigned integer. Now, what is mean by signed and unsigned? Unsigned means only 0 and positive values are allowed. And signed integer are nothing but negative value also allowed and the positive also allowed. You can do it, you can try it on your own. That's simply to this int float a double means to int and float. I will suggest int float and double, not to the char. You can do it, but int float and double precede it with the keyword unassigned. Okay, unassigned. And you will be able to see that the positive value for an integer I, only positive values will be assigned. Then it will be this value 4294967 6 will not be there, it will be 295, because starting from 0 and all positive values, we are not dividing this range into negative values and the positive values. We are starting with 0, so the now values which will be accepted will be doubled. So instead of like 2 value, it will be like 4 and the rest of the digits. But as we are starting with the 0, so in the last one digit less we are going to get. That's why the value which will be allowed will be, instead of 296, it will be 295, which is allowed. Let me take one small pause and let me ask you what data type means, what its range means, and when we say it is of this much bytes, what value it can take, and how to represent it on a number line, what is mean by signed value and what is mean by assigned value, and how it is directly related with two rest2 values. Is it clear to everyone? I'm going to take a break. If you have doubts, you can ask me. I'm going to keep this screen only so that you will be able to see it. And if you have doubt, you can ask me. If you have a notebook, then open that notebook with the pen, write it down, draw it so that you will understand what it means. to send me a reply. Are you writing it down so that I can wait for next 1 or 2 minutes?
Yes,
Is
we
it
are right.
okay? So write it down. I will wait till you are writing. While writing, if you are facing a difficulty, please let me know what it means at any point. Integers. Now I'm going to explain you what is mean by a single precision and what is mean by double precision. So what is the exact difference in memory allocation of float variable and a double variable? Because if you're going to assign some small values and you're going to do the calculation, for you float and double are same, because you're going to do one simple program of addition, subtraction, multiplication with hardly of 2 or 3 or 4 precision values. So it will be same for you, but while assigning a memory to it, how a compiler, Java compiler assigns memory to it, that we will understand. Now here you can observe that under floating point we have two data types, one is double and the other is float. Here the value assigned, if we are going to stick for the 32-bit configuration, the integer value which is allowed is of 4 bytes. So that's why 32 bits, because 8 4s are 32 and 2 raised to 32 is the max value which is possible. Same for your float, that is, once again, please remember it, the float is of 4 bytes and double is of 8 bytes for 32-bit architecture, and these all values will be double if you're going to move to a 64-bit architecture. So integer is going to take 8 bytes, float will is going to take 8 bytes, and double will take 16 bytes in that case. So the value which we have seen here, this 4294, when you are going to convert it to an e raised to exponential, this value will look like this. Don't be afraid of these values. If you are not able to remember it, it's totally okay, but for time being, simply remember that float 32 bits and double 64 bits. Now the next thing which I'm going to show you is single precision and double precision, what it means. And in exam the question can be, write a short note on float and double data type. So you are supposed to write down the range for float and double, under which primitive data type category it comes. So it comes under floating point values. Then you are expected to draw this diagram, and then you are expected to write down one small program in which you're going to take two variables, assign values to it, and display the value, show the output. That's it. This is more than sufficient for 5 marks. Now the thing which I'm going to explain will be extra thing, means no one is expecting from you that what is single precision and what is double precision. But as I promised you that at least in Java you should go thoroughly in Java and you should understand what this data type means, how the memory is allocated to all these data types, and when you say that the value assigned is of 4 bytes, 5 bytes, 8 bytes, or 16 bytes, what it is means to the memory. So we will go step by step. So for the first, that is for single precision, I am going to explain it. So when we say that float is a single precision value, in childhood, we have seen the value of pi. The pi value is 3.14. It was much ahead of it, like 4 digits more. I think it's 3.1427 something, that value. But our teacher used to say that restrict the value after a decimal point. So this is your decimal point, and before we are fixing it to 1, and after we are fixing it to 2, and after how many decimal, how many digits to keep, was nothing but the precision. This is what we are being taught in a school. It is correct, totally correct. So for 3.14 value, the precision for this number is 2. 2 places after the decimal point is the precision. This is what we say when we used to refer a decimal number system, means 0 to 9 convention. But if you observe, computer doesn't understand this decimal language. So computer understand only machine language, binary language, 1010 language. So what a computer is going to do, In first year, in the first semester, you have been taught that how to convert any number to a binary number, any decimal number to a binary number. So here the 3.14 will be represented as, oh, it's not a 10, it's here, it is raised to. So it will be represented as 3.14 into 10 raised to 0. What is 10 raised to 0? 1. 3.14 into 1. So if you want to write it exponentially, this is the format to write it in decimal value. But if you want to write it in binary, no need to think much about it, but compiler is going to do it. But for time being, I will tell you, if you want to write down 3.14 into binary language, then the value will be 1.1001001 into, as this was a decimal point value, that's why it is 10 raised to 0. In case of binary, it is 2 raised to 1. So this is the converted value of your 3.14. This is how your Java compiler is going to store this value into memory. When it's going to save this value into memory, in case of single precision, that is float, and in case of double precision, that is double itself, it's going to store it in different format. How it's going to store? Here a decimal point is there, and after that these many values are there. This is after 2. Whatever you are seeing, that 1 is nothing but called as exponent. So 2 raised to 1. Now I'm going to expect that you're going to give the answer to it. So I'm going to ask you what is the exponent value. In this case, first let me tell you, 2 raised to 1, 1 is the exponent. When I say 2 raised to 8, what will be the exponent value? When I say 2 raised to 8,
8.
yeah, 2 raised to 16,
16.
very good, 2 raised to 32.
32.
So anything rests to exponent value, and in memory it's going to have some spaces for it. So when you say that a single precision format we are going to follow, see here carefully, 32-bit format. Then out of this 32 bits, if you are not able to imagine 32 bits, you can imagine like 32 boxes. The 32 boxes are given to you as an float. 32 boxes given to you by float. So first box, first bit is going to store whether the number which we are going to convert into binary is positive or negative. So it totally depends on architecture. If suppose 1 means positive, 0 will means negative. So the first bit will store whether the given number is positive or negative. The next of the 8 bits are going to store the exponent value, which we have seen right now, that 2 raised to 8. Then what is the binary of it? It is 100. So it's going to save that first 4 boxes out of these 8 boxes will be stored as 100. One more 0 is there. So that is exponent part, and the rest of the number, that is that 1.1001001 will be stored in next 23 boxes. So 32 boxes are divided like, the first box belongs to whether the number is positive or negative, next 8 boxes are for the exponent value, and next 23 boxes are for the actual digits of the number. Now let me show you graphically how it looks like. So we are here, single precision, the second horizontal bar. Total 32 boxes are there with you. The first box represent whether the given number is positive or negative. Next 8 boxes will represent the exponent value. Next 23 boxes will represent the digits actually in that number, like 1.1001001. In case of double precision, only the values assigned, means the boxes values will be doubled, and not exactly doubled, but you will see it. 64 boxes are with you to store the same number, this 3.14, same number, but now you have lots of space. Instead of 32 boxes, you have now 64 boxes. Now how the architecture of it? The first box is only for storing whether the number is positive or negative, so no change there. But for exponent, 3 more boxes you're going to get. So 11 boxes are for storing the exponent value, and rest means 64 minus 12 is 52. 64 minus 12 is 52. This 52 green color bar is for rest of the digits of your number, that is 1.1001001. So is the single precision and double precision, how it stores the value, the architecture of it is clear to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Ma'am.
very good. If you have any doubt, you can
Yes, ma'am.
ask me. Even if in the Google Classroom, you can ask me. So for today's lecture, this is more than sufficient. And what I am